Hi there, my name is Dallin Stevens and I'm going to be your instructor for today. I'm happy to do so. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's say we had a problem here. Say in this particular example, we have an example 7. And it says identify the center and radius of the following equation of a circle and then graph the circle. So we have an equation here called x squared plus parentheses y plus 2 parentheses squared equals 9. Okay, so let's read carefully to understand what this problem is asking for. It says identify the center. Okay, we also need to find the radius of the following, and then after that we need to graph the circle. So to start out with, in order to be able to solve this particular type of problem, we need to know what the standard form of the equation of a circle is. Let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and write out the standard form of the equation of a circle. Let's go ahead and choose red. So the standard form of an equation of a circle is of this form. So x minus h parentheses squared plus y minus k close parentheses squared equals r squared. Where in this case, the r represents the radius. So I'm just going to write this out. So r, that just represents the radius. The radius of what? It's just the radius of the circle. So again, if I have like a circle here, or the center of the circle, the radius is just from the center of the circle to any point on the circle. So for example, from the center of the circle to this point right here on the circle, that's the radius. Now the radius again is a length. So it's a distance or a length from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. So the radius could be that, or I could draw, say, from here to here, to this point, that would also be the radius. So this distance from here to here and this distance from here to here are going to be the same. Again, I could draw it down here or wherever else. But anyway, so this right here, we identified as the standard form of the circle. So let me just, again, that's the standard form of a circle. Now, if we look here, what does the h and the k represent? Well, in this case, the h, comma k, represents the center of the circle. So I'm just going to write here center of the circle. So in this case, this little dot right here in the center, that's maybe like the coordinates h, comma k. If we had like a coordinate system, so if I had like a coordinate system and the center of the circle, and then right here, so hk would be kind of like the coordinates of the center of the circle. So to continue, we're going to need to write this. Let me go ahead and highlight this so you can see what I'm talking about. We need to go ahead and highlight, put this equation of the circle. There we go. And we need to put it in the standard of the format, standard form of a circle format. So we need to rewrite if we could rewrite this in the standard form, then it'll help us to figure out what our center of the circle is, and it'll also help us figure out what the radius is. So let's go ahead and do that. Pull up my black here. So if you can see here, x squared, could I write that what is my h in this case? So if I went like here and went h, and we have a minus there, right? But let's say I don't know if we look here, what is my h? Or you think of here, what goes in the question mark here? What goes in right here? Well, if you think about x, in this case, it's going to be 0, because x minus 0 is x. So we have this part now look like that part, because it's x minus 0 parentheses squared, which is the same thing as x squared. Now if we bring down the plus, so I'm going to bring down the plus, and then I'm going to bring down the y, I'm going to bring down the minus. Now what in this case is going to go in place of k? Well, look here, if you look on this equation, it's a plus, but this is a minus. And so you got to think about, what's going to go in right there, and what, if I added, say, a negative 2, let me just show you. Can you see how a double negative makes this a plus? So a double negative is the same thing as a plus, or y plus 2 parentheses squared. So you're going to have that minus there, and so you can see here, can you see how that's the same form as the y plus 2 parentheses squared? And then let's go ahead and bring down the equal sign, or the equal sign for the standard form. In this case, it says the 9 is in the place of r squared. So if we're trying to figure out what r is, so again, we know that 9, you can see here, 9 is going to be equal to r squared. So if I maybe write out here, 9 equals r squared. And then if I go ahead and solve for r, in order to be able to solve for r, how do I solve this equation, r squared, how do I solve this equation for r? Well, to do that, you just take the square root of both sides. And normally when you take the square root of both sides, you have a plus and minus here, right? And then what's the square root of 9? Well, the square root of 9, I'm just bringing down that plus or minus. The square root of 9 is 3 equals, and then this right here, you can see here the square cancels with the square root. So then we just have r. But can r equal, so you have r is equal to 3 and r is equal to negative 3. But do you see any problem here? Can you have a negative radius? It doesn't make any sense to have a negative distance or a negative radius, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that one. So we're going to know the radius is 3. So, you could rewrite it like this if you want, equals 3 squared. But basically, we're just trying to, again, let's look at the top of the problem, make sure that we're doing everything that's asked. It says identify the center. Do we already know what the center of the circle is now? Well, if we look at here, the center in this case represents HK. So if we look down in our equation right here that we wrote out, what is our H in this situation? What's in this position? Well, here's the X, right? Here's the minus. What's in the H position? 0. So 0 is going to be my H, right? And if we look here, we have, we wrote it down here. Here's our parentheses Y, and then we have the minus there. What's in our place of K? Well, you can see here it's negative 2, right? Because the minus is there, but then the K is this negative 2. So again, 0, negative 2 is going to be our center of the circle. So we accomplished this part, identify the center. What about the radius? Did we figure out what the radius was? Well, if we look down here, is 9 our radius? As you can see here, is 9 our radius? Well, no, because this is radius squared. We're not looking for radius squared, we're looking for what the radius is. But if we solved it down here, is r is equal to 3. And r again is the radius. So just going to write here, r equals 3, and that's our radius of the circle. Okay, and I'm gonna circle these parts because this is kind of what we need here. I don't have to write the h and the k if I don't want to, but we have the center, we have the radius. So I've accomplished those parts. So identify the center and radius of the following equation of the circle. So I already did that, found the center and radius, and then it says, and then graph the circle. Okay, we haven't graphed the circle yet. So if it's okay, I'm gonna kind of give us a little bit more room here, pull it down a little bit. And so the last thing we need to do is just graph the circle. And so I'm just gonna a little graph here, and pull out black here. It says, let's go ahead and plot our point 0, negative 2, which is the center. So 0, negative 2. So if you think of 0, and then that's down 2, right, if you plotted the point. So 0, negative 2. So here's where our, I'm going to make it a little more thicker so you can see it. Oh, I need to get it off this line thing, sorry. So anyway, this is going to be where where our center is, and then 0, negative 2. So again, that's the point 0, negative 2. To make it a little more clear, to make sure there's no misunderstanding, that's the point 0, negative 2. And then it says our radius is 3. So how are we going to do this part? And I need a little bit more room. So the radius 3 is it's going to be, now what does the radius represent? It represents the distance from the center to any point on the circle. So it says the radius is 3, so I'm going to go 3 from this dot. I'm going to actually go 3 up, 3 to the right, 3 down, and 3 left. So a distance from the center of the circle, because this is the center. So 3, so I go 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's up. Then I'm going to go to the right, 1, 2, 3. And down 3, 1, 2, 3. And to the left, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm just going to go ahead and kind of draw a rough circle around that. I could have extended that down a little further. And there's our graph of the center of the circle. Now again, going a diagonal distance of 3 could kind of work too, but the problem is it'd be less accurate. So it's easier to just do 3 up, 3 to the right, 3 down, and 3 left. And that's a distance of, radius of 3. So I hope that helped, and thank you. Hope you have a nice day. Thanks. Bye.